For this project, I really wanted to work with a group that I had not previously worked with. Thus, I chose autism spectrum disorder. We are seeing an increase in higher education of students with ASD, and I really wanted to learn more about their challenges and how I as a counselor could help support them. As my immersion into this group, I met with two children and their mothers and had a dialogue with a current senior at Gettysburg College who self-identifies as neurodiverse. One of the most interesting outcomes from these experiences was how the families had chosen the identity of the younger children I met with versus the college student who had chosen a different identity, even though she also is challenged with ASD. As a parent with a deaf child, I really thought that my insight into the disability community would help me integrate or immerse with the ASD community easier. What I didn't fully understand at the time was the fact that I had preconceived notions about what disability meant and thus was prone to making microaggressions and being biased. I found myself looking down on the other mothers of the two younger children who had ASD because they associated with the Autism Speaks philosophy that autism is a disease that needs to be cured, something that as part of the deaf community I frown upon. I also found that I had preconceived notions about autism and what an autism person should look or act like. I didn't know how great the spectrum really is and how varied the challenges can be for someone with ASD, or that there are millions of people who go undiagnosed with ASD in the United States. I also learned that there are various ways in which people choose to identify with ASD or recently as neurodiverse. Sue and Sue talk about these different models of disability as the medical model and the minority model. Autism Speak is in the culture that sees autism as a disease that needs to be cured, which goes along with Sue and Sue's medical model. Autism Self-Advocacy Network and Neurodiversity sees autism as a culture that just is different and that people should make accommodations for them because they are just having a variation of human wiring. This is similar to the deaf community, where some people see deafness as something that needs to be cured versus a difference in communication and socialization that only seeks accommodations. As a counselor, I have seen that you need to have some baseline of information on the group you are working with. Going to the experiences that I did without this basic insight caused my internal biases and misconceptions to take hold. In the future, the plan would be to do a lot more questioning to gain understanding and really listening without imposing my own thoughts and experiences on the conversations. And don't make assumptions. If something is unclear, make sure to ask for clarification and don't take each or even small gestures as unimportant because you may very well miss something critical to understanding what's going on with that person. In conclusion, you have to remember that everything we have read, watched, or engaged with in learning about counseling diverse populations needs to be taken apart and digested with each new individual we meet, as every person and situation is unique. So every counseling session and treatment plan will also be unique. As a side note, I only rented Sue and Sue thinking it was just another textbook that I would never use again after this course. That was a really bad assumption. I will be buying the book to keep in my office so that I am able to revisit it and apply it as I move forward in my career.